And what about a day in kindergarten? You know, like the lowest.
Oh, that was only a little church school. It was St John's. It was only a little church school. 3 classrooms. There was Miss Oddie, Mrs Porter, and Miss Wilkinson. And Mrs Porter classed herself as the headmistress. There's only 3 of them, like, you know. But it was. It's still there actually. It's a school, and it had a. There was 2 classes in one part of the school, and the little. Baby, well, when you went to school, you didn't go to school till you were 5 then, and that was in Miss Oddie's class, and there was a big fireplace in the middle, and in the winter there was a big roaring fire and things like that. But when the milkman came with your milk, because you got a little bottle of milk then, and it was frozen sometimes, so you had to put them on the radiator, and we thought it was ice cream, you see, because it was all thing at the top, so we was all, you dig it like that. And then you went into Mrs Porter's class, and then when you'd done that, you learned, I learned to write I was writing by the time I was 6, 7 years old, I was writing, and then you went into Mrs Porter's class and you did math. Well, you did sums as we called it then. It wasn't maths then, it was sums, English, history, geography. You learned about Leyland, you know, the history of Leyland and that. And then when you went to Miss Wilkinson's class, who was in the top 6, had desks with lids on, and I thought that was brilliant. I was number 2, so I thought, oh. And if you took a lunch to school, you gave it to the teacher, you know, for half, with your milk and that. You didn't keep that. You gave that to the teacher with your name on it, and she gave it to you back and that. And we had tables tests there. You had a piece of paper with 1 to 12 written across and 1 to 12 written down. And you was given so long to say, like, 1 1 is 1, 1 2 is 2, 2 1 is 2, and things like that. And you was given so long to do that, and you had to do the whole lot. And so I think it was not a great long time in that, but it was a good little school. It was a good little school. It had a little bell on the top that rung when it was time for going in and things like that. And then Woodlea, of course, you learn more at Woodlea. Because by the time you went there, when you was 7, you could read, you could write, you could do your tables, you could do sums, you knew something about geography, history, and what have you. And then there was in forms A and B, like it was 1A and 1B, 2A, 2B, 3A, 3B, and 4A, 4B. That was the top. That was a top class, that. Now, when you was 11, there, you could take exams for grammar schools. I wanted to go to Chorley Grammar, but they wanted me to go to Balshaw, so I didn't go. So that was out then. I wouldn't want to go there. So when you was 13 at Wellfield, I didn't get out of it. You did an exam for what was the... It's the university now, part of the university. It was the Harris Technical College. I had no interest whatsoever in technicalities. I didn't want to work in an office or anything like that. So I went there, and I did my best. I really did. But I thought, it's not in me. And of course I didn't pass, so that was a penance I had to pay with mother and father and grandfather. So there you go. But I was quite happy at Wellfield, and I didn't want to leave Wellfield because I was quite happy there. Yeah.
You know, the other 2 schools that you said you went to, what time did they start?
They started at 9 o'clock and finished at 3:30. Did the kindergarten part, and the juniors, you went at 9 o'clock till 3:30. And then when you went up to the seniors, it was 9 o'clock till 4 o'clock. It was the same at the grammar schools. They started at 9, and you came out at 4 o'clock, and you couldn't at Wellfield, unless you was going home for lunch. You couldn't go out. You had your lunch at school, and you stayed in within the playgrounds or whatever, or on the school field and that. Unless you went home for lunch, you couldn't go out, unless you got permission off one of the teachers if he was going somewhere in that, but you couldn't go out not till 4 o'clock, and then you toddled off through the gates then, like, you know, yeah.
What did you enjoy about school?
I enjoyed the sports part of it, the science part of it. Maths, I could do maths, but I wasn't all that keen on them, to be perfectly honest. I was all right at it. I always get good marks, but I wasn't all that keen. I think everything about school I really liked, I've got to admit. I really did, because, as I said, with good teachers, it was a good school. It was well disciplined and everything. And I enjoyed school, I really did. To be perfectly honest, I really did. Enjoyed everything about it. I couldn't fault it really.